Hey everyone, it's Sunmin and welcome back to Your Money Game, the show where we'll get better with saving, spending and investing. And today it's all about Syfe, one of the latest robo-advisors here in Singapore, and all about their portfolio, SG REITs. So in case I misspoke, or for those of you who do not know what REITs stand for, REITs, it's Real Estate Investment Trusts. And Syfe is one of those robo-advisors that scored a great deal with the Singapore Stock Exchange. They managed to do a tie-up to create this product called SG REITs. So I've been a customer since February of this year, so what I'll be doing is covering what I've liked and disliked about the platform so far. I'll give you a quick overview of what it looks like, and then I'll be covering a little bit more about the REITs category and some considerations that you might have should you be interested in investing in REITs. So let's start with what I like. The first main thing is really it's the easiest way to own the top 20 of Singapore's REITs in one go. So it's a mouthful, but what this portfolio does is it tracks the IHSG REIT 20 index. It is an index that tracks 20 of the largest REITs in Singapore by market capitalization. The second thing is, like all robos, they make it really cheap for you to own these products. There's no minimum fees, no minimum balance. The costs are like 0.65 to 0.4% per annum, and there are no fees to buy and sell. The next thing that I really like is that there is some minor level of control that you have over your portfolio. So Syfe's internal risk management system is called RE, and what it does is that it tries to match and adapt itself to the current market situation by buying or selling bonds as part of the portfolio. In the case of SG REITs as a product, you have the option of turning off that function. So that way, you can just revert your entire portfolio back to 100% REITs. The second bit of control is that REITs tend to be an income-based product. So what that means is that it gives you dividends on a regular basis. And in this case, you have the option to withdraw those funds or you can have it reinvested automatically. So what dividend investing really means is it simply takes the dividends that you get, reallocates it back to buying more units of this fund. The other really neat feature, and I'm not entirely sure how long this will last, is that they will give you access to a financial advisor in the first month of being a customer. To be honest, I took it for granted, so I didn't take advantage of that, and that's really my bad. So I can't speak for the quality of it, but from the way they've set it up in the website, it looks pretty decent. So let's talk drawbacks. The first one, although it's a small problem, is that you can't use your SRS funds to fund this account. The second issue is not really a major one because it's actually a pro. Remember what I said, it's easy and cheap for you to start. But if you choose to DIY and you have a lot of cash, the 0.65 to 0.4% fee can be a little high considering that you can get it for completely free if you DIY. If you have enough money and you really want to DIY the portfolio, it is super easy to do, and in terms of cost, as long as you don't trade too much, you should be fine. But I'll be honest, I haven't really done the exact math, so if you wanted to, you can dig into it a bit more. The third drawback is related to the user experience of the systems. There's no really easy way for you to get historical statements. You can look at historical transactions, but the problem is it's really messy. So they don't make it very easy for you to discover what has been done to your portfolio. But there's absolutely zero drawback if you hit that subscribe button for me as well as for the YouTube algorithm gods. So the Syfe systems are really simple, so let me quickly give you an overview of what it looks like.
So this is the view of the Syfe landing page once you've logged into your account. As you can see, it's pretty bare, it's quite straightforward. And you've got a couple of views over here, but there's not a lot of indication or details regarding what the numbers are, but nevertheless, if you click and go in, you get to see the actual numbers. So over here at a snapshot, you kind of see that this is the SG REITs portfolio. You've got the key information captured over here in terms of your account values, and you can kind of see the performance over time. And this is when I first invested back in the 18th of February and until now. So you can see the different time periods. And what I like over here is also that they understand this portfolio is one that's geared towards income. So they'll tell you the amount of dividends that you received. Going down a bit more, as you can see, there are multiple tabs over here. Not the most intuitive, but as you can kind of see this little icon here, if you click on that, what happens is it brings you into the composition of the portfolio. And over here, you can kind of see the different units that you have, as the weightage of your portfolio, what it's invested in, and a quick summary of what it is. Fairly straightforward, and they tend to hold about 1% in cash. Yeah, and you've got transactions over here. If you click on it, you'll see the history of your transactions. The other two interesting bits about the feature is that yes, you can kind of reinvest dividends or you can opt for a payout instead. And then in terms of the composition, currently it's 100% REITs, but on default, it uses the RE system that kind of has quite a bit of bonds put in. I think when I first started, they had about 20% allocation in bonds, and after the March crash, there was about maybe a 40%. And you can change it if you want to. So it's really up to you, and that's a really good flexible feature.
Next, let's dive very quickly also into what happened in March and how did the portfolio fare. So sad to say for me, I initiated my portfolio right before the high of the entire stock market back in mid-February, and the market peaked at February 19th. So right after February 19th, it began to fall. And what happened to the portfolio was, first of all, when I started, I had about 20% in bonds. By the time March 3rd came around, they shifted an additional layer of bonds as well. So I think in total, after March 3rd, I had about 40 to 45% of my portfolio in bonds. So from the high of February 19th to the low point of March 23rd, the total drop of my portfolio was about 20%. In terms of recovery, from the low point of March 23rd to a high point of June 10th, a couple of weeks ago, the total recovery was about 19%. Since then, it has dropped a little bit more, but those are the numbers and the recovery has been pretty decent. No issues with the product itself, but let's talk a little bit more about what's happening in the REITs category and some considerations for you should you want to get into it. So the first point is that it should come as no surprise to you that COVID-19 has impacted the real estate business in a big way. Most type of real estate businesses have taken a hit. So it's important first to take a step back and understand that REITs are somewhat like stocks, in the sense that they have different sectors. The most popular of these sectors are commercial, retail, industrial and logistics, and data centers. So these form the bulk of the different kind of REIT products that, at least in Singapore, are very popular. A piece of research done by Deloitte has shown that at least for data centers and for industrials, those are two sectors that are doing particularly well. So the question you should be asking yourself is, out of this total portfolio, what is the proportion of it that is allocated towards hard-hit sectors that are like commercial and retail? So after digging into it, it looks as if that maybe 50 to 60% of the portfolio is allocated towards something like commercial and retail. The second thing to consider is that with all this disruption, there's plenty of it still playing out. So as mentioned, the retail space is impacted, and if you look at your own life, you've adapted so much as well. You've gone to do so much more e-commerce shopping, you're ordering more food indoors, you're going out less. So if you think about it from a behavior change perspective of regular consumers like you and me, it's gonna impact the retail space moving forward. The next impact is really towards commercial leases. So with the work from home revolution, a lot of major employers are really reconsidering just how much real estate they really need for their employees. With all the negative disruption, you do see some shining examples of people trying to innovate. You have CapitaLand trying to launch an e-commerce and delivery service. You have Suntec trying to do something similar. And I can imagine more and more of these type of retailers will be trying new things out or trying to form alliances to change the way they do business. I've attached a link below on the state of REITs in Singapore, so if you want to read a little bit more, you can dig right into it. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for the REITs industry, so there are some silver linings around. First is that it should come as no surprise that we are in a low interest rate environment. So REITs as a category tend to benefit from low interest rate environments because it makes it cheaper for them to service the debt that they may have. So REITs are still relatively safe. At least the top 20 REITs in Singapore are. Again, they're not risk-free as I mentioned, but at the same time, they're super solid players that shouldn't really be folding up their businesses anytime soon. If you are looking really for dividends and don't mind seeing a very subdued capital appreciation from the near term, if you are patient and you're willing to wait it out over the long term, it might still be a great option for you to consider to load up right now. Now to sum it up, if you were really interested in the SG REITs industry and you wanted to get started, Syfe's product is a great product to start. It's especially unique if you really wanted their risk management system, so with relatively few drawbacks with the product. The question you should really be asking yourself is, do I want to be involved with Singapore REITs in this point in time? Alright, I hope you guys found this useful, and if you did, I would really appreciate you hitting that like, subscribe, as well as that bell button, because I'll be back again next Sunday with a whole new video and a whole new series, because I think I'm done with robo investing for this point in time. So until next time, take care and keep playing your own game. you.